Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Beneath the Lift Tower. My name's Charles McGillivray and I'm joined as always by Simon Stacey and Jess Kebble. This is a Northampton Saints fans podcast by fans for fans about everything to do with Northampton Saints. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks, mate.
Good. You recovered from Friday night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The boys did it. They did us proud. It's unfortunately we didn't get the result, but it wasn't a bad performance, was it? So
no, exactly. It was almost what could have, should have been, really, wasn't it? I mean, like to go up 15 points, look phenomenal, but then just to lose the momentum in that game. And then obviously some of the stuff Bears did was, really you got to put your hands up and say outstanding, really great.
As long as you don't count forward passes anymore, but we won't go into that.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the first time that Craig Maxwell Keys has sort of lent towards the home side in his decision making. We've been the benefit of it, haven't we?
Yeah, it was that great try where they did the length of the pitch. There was 2 forward passes. But it is what it is. We wouldn't have won anyway because it's only 1 try. But yeah, they did all right. We clearly, when you've got your whole back line missing, you're going to suffer, aren't you? Bristol only had 2 players missing, so yeah, I thought they showed up. For at least 40 minutes they were dominant. But yeah, in the end, unfortunately, I wasn't far off with the prediction, was I? Unfortunately, which I didn't want to do, but yeah.
I mean, we were only 1 kick away, literally, from taking a point home. And considering what happened last year, I'll take the improvement, to be fair, considering who was missing, both injury and England-wise.
Yeah, I think the missing people were quite key. And I think, obviously quite key, but I think what was really missing from them, it wasn't necessarily ability, because I thought a lot of the players really stepped up who played and showed their ability. It was that understanding and that ability to grab momentum in games. When you think of Mitchell, Finn, Dingwall, Burbs, and to some extent Freeman, they just have this know-how how to grasp a game and get the momentum and then, get control of it. And if you're under pressure, they know how to sort of flick the switch and turn that momentum back. When we talked about the Chiefs game last week, Finn Smith's kicking game at the end, we got that lead and then he just closed the game out, killed them off, turned them round. I think if you give Finn Smith a 15-point lead in any fixture, it's very hard for the opposition to call that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you mean Sale?
Sales, yeah. Sales, sorry. Yeah.
That's right,
Yeah. So I've watched a lot of Chiefs recently for some reason.
Makeshift Cuba, he looked pretty decent actually, to be fair, for his first start in the Premiership.
Yeah, that's the point I mean. Like he did look a really good player, and he stood up defensively as well, which is obviously a big part of it. But he had all the skills, all the talent, made some really good decisions. But obviously that's his first Premiership start. So that sort of know-how, how to sort of gamesmanship, sort of game craft, he's got to learn that. He's got to go through the experience of playing games at that level to learn how to do that. And I think that's all that was really missing. I thought they didn't look out of sorts in terms of talent.
No. To play a full 80 as well, fair play to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big statement, I think, picking him. We all assumed Charlie Savala would have got the nod, and he didn't. They went with Makepeace Cubitt, who has played a few games for Bedford this season, rather than Charlie Savala, who's not played at all, really. But it's a big statement in terms of pecking order.
Yeah.
I guess, but I'm sure I read somewhere that Savala had gotten himself injured, and so I don't know if that factored in. I don't keep up well enough on who is and who isn't. I'm sure he hurt himself at the beginning of maybe even in pre-season. I'm not sure, so I don't know if that factored in. But yeah,
He could
still a
he
big,
could definitely play. He could
big
definitely play
choice.
centre. He's built like a centre. So when he came on at centre, I thought that could be a perfect position for him, really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see him set in centre in the cup either. I think we'll
Yeah.
get into the cup coming forward later, but I think that might be where we do see him, and he's a big lad, and he's the way he plays isn't necessarily that of a flowing 10, so it might be where he ends up being.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
I know I was going to say, I'm jumping ahead. But what about that pass from Hutchinson, man? That was just up pin the distance it travelled, and Ram did not have to stop a stride straight in. But one of the best passes I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was a thing. The one player who did really step up and was probably doing his best to keep us in control of that game and organising things was Hutch. I thought, he is on the fire at the moment, isn't he? He is in the form of his life. And like you said, that pass wasn't not only, but to be fair, the break, he found the soft shoulder and he just exploded into it. He was flying through, and then he didn't break. He barely broke stride. You could see him moving, but his head was pivoting, looking for the space, and then perfection. 50-yard pass onto an on-running Ramu, scorched into the corner. Unbelievable. He like I said last week, picking between Dingwall, Freeman, and Hutch at the moment is nigh on impossible.
Yeah, but he was class again. I was a bit worried about Rami. Because he went down with his knee, didn't he? I was like, oh God, no, please not again. But he obviously is okay because he sprinted the length of the pitch to score that try. So, but yeah, Hutch definitely stood up.
Who else stood out for you?
It was so disappointing because I was a bit shocked that we just absolutely just out the races straight from the start, took that 15-point lead, and then they just woke up. I think it was literally everything they tried. It was a bit like Sale. They just messed up, or they threw it into each other, or knocked on. And obviously, Pat Lam fired some. I won't swear. Fired some bits up them at half time, and they came out and played the game.
Yeah, I mean they'd already turned around the momentum, really, hadn't they? That's the thing. Like we came out, like you said, unbelievable, and some really good tries. Got that 15-point lead, and then it just switched off. They just took control. All the territory, all possession was suddenly them. And I thought we defended really well for long periods of time. But you cannot give Bears that much possession, that much territory, and then expect them not to score. You need that's something to break that momentum and turn it around on them. And we just couldn't do that from that point on. Once they got the momentum going, the ball rolling, we couldn't stop them.
Nope, we couldn't. But
No.
I think the change for them was also, even though he's a quality player, I can't think of his name. Is it Ransberg? Is it Ransberg? He's got a double-barreled name, hasn't he?
Ransberg, yeah.
Yeah, they're bigging him up. He went off early, and they brought on that Argentinian lad. He was amazing. He looks very decent. So yeah, it was just hard to watch because we were so good, and then like you said, we switched off, and the defending was good, but they just seemed to find the holes, and we left with nothing.
Yeah.
We did deserve to leave with 2 points, I think, but we didn't.
Who did look good for us?
Pearson again. Forgotten his name. Number 8. What's his name?
Pollock.
Oh, Pollock.
Pollock, of course, Pollock. Obviously Hutch. The makeshift. I forgot. My head's all fried today. Sorry, the 10. He looked decent.
Cubit, yeah.
Cubit. Rami's always Rami, isn't he? So yeah, Rambo always plays well.
I'm not sure I could really pick anyone out that had a bad game, to be fair.
No, that's what I said.
It's like it was. Yeah, it's more like the kind of the cohesion and the understanding that the regular starters have that was kind of missing. It wasn't necessarily, Yeah, I think everybody had a really good game, actually, to be fair. It just didn't quite work as a collective, like for
No,
parts of it. But
it's like
I
one of
mean, we
them
literally
games.
were we were that one conversion away from taking a point, which would have been a really good result.
Yeah, it's one of them games where you've lost, but you're actually proud because obviously half the team's missing, but they still put in an effort. They didn't
Yeah.
get pants taken down like last year, and
Yeah.
could have won. We could have won it if we just made the ball bounced our way. But it is what it is. It's rugby, in it. That's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Pearson was phenomenal. The two tries at the start of the game based off of his phenomenal ball carrying. That one, the first one for Hendy, that sort of step to take the outside line, make the break, and then just feed Hendy, and away you went. That was top class. Whether that being dropped from England had given him a bit of a spurt or whatever, he had a incredible performance, I thought, and he has been quite good for a little while now. Especially with his ball carrying, and then obviously against the Sale, his defence was phenomenal in terms of big hits. Um,
Yeah.
but Hendy, I thought, as always, apart from that sort of really bit of hospital pass he gave to James on his own line when it was just dying, and then James saved it with that outrageous step, to waste a bit of time so everyone can get around him. I thought Hendy was good. Pollock, best performance he's done. He was out everywhere, really outstanding. Ball carrying, coming along really nicely. He's starting to act well at the breakdown. Tremendous. Like, the one thing I would say though is, I said it last week. I said I'd rather see Angus Scott Young start, and this performance has reinforced that opinion for me. I think Kemeny took his try really well. He's really, really explosive in those wide channels. Really great player in the line out. But for me, he is a bit of a luxury. He does some really nice, sort of explosive, big X factor pieces. But we've got Pollock, we've got Pearson doing that as well. I would sort of rather have a nuts and bolts industrial player like Angus Scott Young in the back three to get that balance right. I think we carried Kemeny a bit for periods of that game, and that's not to dismiss him because that's his game. But I think we lacked something by not having a proper dog of war, proper grunt workhorse in there. I think Angus Scott Young brings that. Um, yeah,
Just put him on the wing, like I said last week. Put him on the wing.
It's difficult though, isn't it? It's difficult because they targeted him to bring him here intentionally. So the likelihood of him not starting often, I just don't think that's realistic in terms of, they said they've specifically gone after him and convinced him to come over and they're going to use him. I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just thinking I'm just thinking from their perspective. Yeah, from their perspective, they really pushed and really fought hard, from my understanding, for him to come here, and so I think he is their plan.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously adds an awful lot of value. He's a really good player. It's just and it's the balance of it all.
Yeah.
Sort of you've got Pearson, who is absolutely steamrolling defenses, really big impact player. You've got Pollock, who is energy on energy. He's everywhere. What you need is a bit of bulk who's going to put himself around, but also get through a shed load of work. And Kemeny is a bit more like Pearson in the fact that he's a explosive, big impact player. So therefore, if you've got the two of them doing that, you're sort of missing a piece of the jigsaw. And you can make that up elsewhere, in the tight five potentially. But it's the balance of the whole pack as well as the back row. But I think we're missing that workhorse, that Richard Hill type figure, who you don't really see on the field, but gets through all the work for you and allows your Pollock and your Pearson to sort of do it. Because honestly, if you give me an option between two out of the three, I'm picking those two at this point in time. And so that's form. You don't, if you sign someone, it's not a guarantee for them to play every week. They've got to earn their spot, and that's where I think it is at the moment. The other real concern for me again is the scrum. Like since last year, that the front row personnel hasn't really changed, but our scrum has got a lot weaker. So you've got to start looking at where is that coming from. And I think maybe in the second row we're not as strong as we were. Obviously Coles came back. He had some great moments. He also made a bad defensive read for one of the early tries. But he'll be guaranteed starting because he's a really great player. But who's pairs with him? I don't think anyone's really stepped up other than Munger, who wasn't playing in that game. So I think scrum is still a worrying place. And the set piece went well, changed the hook up, complete catastrophe. We lose all momentum in the game. When we've still got a chance, we come on, we overthrow, a few bad throws. We've got to develop that position below Landon quite a bit, I think. It's going to take time, but I think that's a real area where they need to develop.
You could always.
Well, yeah, it's right, isn't it? Who is a replacement hooker? He's quite young, isn't he? Yeah. So, like you said, it's just learning. It takes the time. I mean, we said this at the end of last season when we were doing sort of the review and looking ahead to this year. Like, we knew that it wasn't going to be what it was last year, that there are people that have got to come in and they've got to have time to learn. Like the cyclical nature of it. Like, we're not going to be champions this year. It's not me saying anything bad. I just don't think we are. I think we're off the pace compared to those teams at the top. And so I can't see it happening. But it does give some people who look really promising the chance to actually get up to that level. And that's what we have to kind of afford them. So, I don't know. It wasn't, the line-out went very wrong when Wright came on, but there's time still to correct that. It's just, the reality is it's a learning on the job situation, isn't it? And we said this about McParland, how many, there was a few very bad performances, but you can tell he's learned from them and the mistakes that he's made, and he's been pretty solid since then.
Yeah, you're saying about Kemeny, you can always play him at lock. He's a big lad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's a big lad, but is he big enough? Like, I don't know. It's a specialist position, really. I think when you start trying to put, square pegs in round holes, it doesn't always work. But I agree with Jess fully. I don't think we're title winning side this year. I didn't think we were before the season started, but I think the potential's there. I think you look at the headroom that likes of Pollock and Wright and McFarland and Lockett and all these lads have got is really high. We've got to get them the game time and develop them. Like look at we went from having Landon and Matavesi, two international standard hookers, to having Landon and Smith, who's a developing international potentially, and Wright, and then the other Langdon. I don't think any of them are quite at Matavesi's level, but they've all got potential to get there. It's just we've got to fill these holes by developing these players. And the holes I think are the depth at 2 and the grunt and weight in the second row. I think Lockett might be a really good option there, but we've got to wait and see. And he's got to have the opportunity to grow. It's not an instant fix, is it?
No, but it's also the good thing about having the Prem Rugby Cup when the internationals are, because you'll have to pick some of these developing players. I mean, you should do anyway. I think for me that's the spirit of the competition, so you should regardless. But it's going to be a good chance to see some of these guys for a good couple of weeks playing, putting big shifts in, long shifts in, and kind of see what comes from that really. But I think considering some of them, like I said, like Makepeace Cubitt, literally making his Premiership debut at Bears away, I think the whole team just put in a really solid performance that I wasn't necessarily expecting. So there's definitely positives in terms of moving forward. But no, I've got no expectations that I don't even have expectations necessarily that we'll be in the top 4, let alone title contenders.
Yeah, that's the real point you made, isn't it? Like we sent the team without really any of our big stars because they're with England, which they're naturally our best players because that's why they've been called up. and yet we really did go and perform and put a good performance in and match them and almost shock them. Let's be honest. If we'd have managed that game slightly better, we could have come away with a win there. And it's just that it's really great to see that the talent isn't the issue. It's just the gamemanship, I think. Learning how to manage and control those games. And I think Makepeace and Cubic will learn massively from that. He looked to players who, and it's the same with all of them. Litchfield will learn from it, and Hendy will learn from it, and it's great to see how well we did. Because, like you said, when we were in this position last year, we got absolutely thumped. So there's been a step up, hasn't there?
Yep.
Yeah, and it feels like we've definitely got the talent and the depth there. That maybe not in certain, but the talent to hopefully have the depth in a season like that. I can't see it being a 10-year wait for the next. Like, I really think that we've got some talent in there that when it all kind of comes to fruition and they all mature into playing the game, like, we're going to be a tough side to beat.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I'm shocked Pearson hasn't been called up, if I'm honest. Cole's straight away hasn't he? Coles has been called back into the camp. And as Sam Warburton said on the commentary, I don't know if you heard it, he said any other country in the world, he'd probably be starting for them. He says, like, England's so with back rowers, it's a joke.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, the talent in the back row is insane. I think it's weird. I think England have never really, and most of the Northern Hemisphere, to be fair, haven't really produced like that world-class player who would go down in the list of all-time greats in the back row as a 7. But there's so many amazing options. There isn't someone who has ever stood out like a McCaw or a Pocock or a Pienaar or a Krieger or a Hooper, etc. But the list of talent is just insane. The two Currys, Ludlam had to leave because he couldn't get a game, and he left because he wasn't really a choice. And then, you got Underhill, Pearson, who doesn't get a look in. It's just insanity. But yeah, I agree. I'm surprised because that performance was phenomenal.
It's what I was looking through, though, isn't it? If Steve Borthwick, guys, if there's another coach looking, he'd go, actually, I'm having that boy because he can do something different. Because he outplayed the Currys when we played Sale, so.
Yeah. They bring different things, don't they? I think Pearson's I think he's more of a 6 than a 7, in the sense of his impact on the game is physical. He's a minor option. He's not necessarily a breakdown expert. He's like a Tom Curry would be. But he is. But we've got Pollock hopefully for that. So I think going forward, Pearson, Pollock are our 6 and 7. I really do. I think you had a bit of Augustus or a bit of Graham in 8. That back row would look phenomenal. I know Pollock's playing 8 at the moment because we haven't got an 8 fit otherwise. It's I think it'd be amazing to see what a 7 he becomes, because he's got a couple of good turnovers already, and the more experience he gets in that realm and the work he does on that, it'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's also a slightly different situation with Coles, where if he hadn't have gotten injured, he'd have been named immediately, wouldn't he? So Pearson's still fighting, but I think Cole has already kind of cemented his place in there. So as soon as they knew he was fit, off he popped.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Pearson offers a lot what other players offer in the back row. There's a lot of them are very similar. So it's a form thing or a preference thing. Whereas Coles offers something completely different to every other second row in the country, in my view anyway. I think, there aren't any second rows in England that have the support play, the bit of offloading game, as good a line operator as him. He's a unique player, so you're going to bring him in for something different at the very least.
Yeah.
You're right. But we know you're one of his groupies, but he is rightfully got that credit because he is world class. So
yeah. Hopefully, he gets a good run in the autumn. I'm off to HQ for the Aussie game, so hopefully he's playing.
But who are you backing?
Well, Australia, obviously. Hopefully, Coles gets man of the match and loses 50-0, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's looking ahead. You mentioned it there, Jess. Well, obviously we've got a sort of a derby this Friday upcoming.
Yeah.
They obviously beat us at theirs, but this is sort of a derby light, sort of diet version of the game in the cup. Like you said, I hope that, and I expect they'll probably go with a pre-rotated second team. How Leicester go is another question.
Yeah, I don't think they will. They'll go full strength because they'll want to go and win something.
Yeah.
I reckon they'll go pretty strong because it's against us as well, isn't it? We haven't really got a choice. They've got like some internationals that we dream of having as backup, like your Montoyas and your Pollards and that. But yeah, it's what it is. But like I said, it should be like in football where they have to have so many young players in the team. It's not fair. And we did it one year though, didn't we? We did it one year.
Yeah,
we first team was in and we won it. So
yeah, it all depends on where you are in your development team. So like if Chaka's just gone in there, if he wins the cup and finishes mid-table, he's probably had a good year. I think he'll probably do better than that, but it's a win, isn't it? It's a trophy in the bag. It's a weird one for the older fans. There was always a proper cup.
yeah,
There was like the Pilkington Cup or the Parker Pen Cup or whatever, where it was like an actual cup that meant something.
Yep.
Whereas obviously the Premiership Cup has become a development tournament. And what's really cool about it, though, they've introduced the Championship clubs.
Yeah.
So you get that bit of difference. It's not just the same teams, but it will hopefully be an opportunity to see some of these youngsters step up.
Yeah. It's just a shame because back in the day, it was really good, like going to Oral or somewhere like that, and like nearly losing. It was like the FA Cup. You get drawn against a team 3 or 4 divisions down, and it was a proper cup. You had the final at Twickenham or a bigger stadium. It was they kind of liquidated it a bit now. I know it's a development thing, but
I think the game's changed though as well, isn't it? Like because of the inset of professionalism, there's a enormous gulf between the lower leagues and the professionals. And it's really not right for Northampton Saints, even if it is a young side, to go and play against Oral because it's not safe in the greater scheme of things. It's just not. You've got a full-time professional against someone who's doing it for semi-pro or amateur. It's not right. It's not good for the game in any way. So yeah, this is probably a good outcome, isn't it? You've got Championship clubs playing against weakened Premiership clubs. Great exposure to young players, great exposure for the developing clubs as well.
Yeah. I've always liked the Prem Rugby Cup or whatever it, the various different name changes or iterations or whatever. I do agree with Simon though. I do think there should be a cap on how many, there should be a cap on it, whether it's age or how many appearances you put in or whatever it is, because I think some do abuse it. Like even the year we won, we abused it. Like I think we can all kind of quite fairly say that, we won it because we abused it. And like it never quite sat well with me. And I understand, I definitely understand the desire of wanting to win a trophy, but when you're thumping weakened side by loads of points, I was like, how do you feel good about that? Like, so I think it should be used for what it's really meant for. And I think we're going to use it for what it's really meant for, mainly out of necessity. But
can't do anything other than use it for what it's meant for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I honestly, it's one of those where we talk about like predictions at the end, but it's so hard to predict because we literally you never know what a team is going to treat that competition as until you're in it. Like,
Yeah, but then it devalues it, doesn't it? Because if you think all the clubs are trying to get fans through the gates to sell more competitions, justify season ticket prices, justify ticket prices, get more people just coming in using the venue, etc. If you call it an under-23 tournament, no one that's actually going to take any notice of it. So it's almost like you want to call it a proper trophy, and then everyone just underhand treat it like an under-23 competition. You want like all the DORs to get together and have a gentleman's agreement sort of thing,
But the thing is that where English rugby is at the moment, like some of the actual talent at that type of level is ridiculous. Like you would still have such a great competition even with people who were under 20 whatever it was that you wanted to base it off of. Like some of the talent in this country is ridiculous. And I feel like that's the way that you should market it, the chance to see someone new and find that next person that's going to kind of break through, because that is what that competition has been for. That's what competition's been for lots of players on our team who made names for themselves in those tournaments, whether it was the LV back then or Anglo Welsh, whatever it was bloody called year on year. But some of ours have pushed themselves into the first team, into Premiership starts based on how they performed in that competition.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing, right? So that the way to do that is to promote these youngsters, and everyone knows who Courtney Laws was, or everyone knows who um, Finn Smith is because they see them in a white shirt at Twickenham, etc. So we need to promote these youngsters who are coming through to get people to want to come and watch these exciting young players. So let's do that now, right? Let's go through the Saints side that maybe we want to see, or we're hoping to see, or we're expecting to see v Tigers, and spend some time on the players. I think we very similar pick teams every week, right? The team almost picks itself. We don't disagree largely on the players who pick it. So if we sort of say that the normal 15 that we would pick, let's just work on the premise they're not going to be playing.
Yeah.
Right. So let's, based on who's available and who is the sort of player who should be getting game time in this tournament, let's go through it 1 to 15. So if we start with 1,
probably got to go West.
You reckon West? I mean, is he a young, aspiring player?
No, he's not, but I can't think of anybody else.
I would say it has to be Tarek.
I'd say Hafar,
Tarek Hafar, of course. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
because he's got a couple of he has got some Premiership games under his belt
all day long.
So it's not like throwing them into the, but at the same time, like you said, it's a perfect chance for
I was just going
to show what he's got, but also put in like a decent shift in terms of the time being on the pitch and being able to put that together. Because obviously at the moment he does, when he is the replacement, it's what 20, 25, 30 minutes at a push. But the chance to kind of do 50, 60 and see what he's kind of made of for that. So yeah, I'd say definitely.
Definitely
I was going
Hafar. And I just couldn't my memory. Yeah, he'd be starting definitely.
No, I agree. Like this is a perfect opportunity for someone. He hasn't quite managed to break in and challenge just with Manny at the moment, but this could be a great opportunity for him to get 60 minutes on the board, show what he's worth, and also become a better player. That's the purpose.
He's got some wheels on him as well, hasn't he? He's got some pace, that boy.
He's great in the loose. He's really great in the loose. Ball carrying's really good. Yeah, and that's what I think. He could be a player who really excites people, because if he does get an opportunity, a line break, they're the highlight reels that he will pull people in and they will get excited by. Because he's got, like you said, he's got a turn of pace and big lad, and he could be a really exciting player if he can, nail down the other aspects of his game.
You're going to go right or hooker, aren't you? Or Langdon? Would you go Langdon?
No, I go right.
Go right. Develop the youth. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. What Langdon are you talking about?
Well, Curtis ain't playing, is he?
No, that's what I mean. I think you're probably starting Craig Wright, because it seems to be the next cab off the rank young under 20s player.
I mean, I wouldn't pick Curtis at all.
No, I agree. Nathan Landon.
I just be like, Curtis, you have a week off, mate. You chill. Like, I wouldn't use him at all.
He deserves.
I don't think any of them will have a month off. We are going to see some of them, because it's just the necessity, isn't it, of like otherwise not playing for a long length of time. But I think for this weekend, I just wouldn't even have him in at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think the two hooker options would be Craig Wright starting, Nathan Langdon off the bench. Particularly
Nathan Langdon off the bench, because we haven't really seen him like at all. So it'd be good just to kind of, see what he's got really. Like it would be, it's the perfect opportunity, like you said.
Go green at tight head.
Well, there are two other tight heads away at international level. The only other tight head who's actually appeared this season is Green. So I think he's a given. He looks a really good, promising player as well. He's got some real pace and power to him. Big lad, good, strong, big, broad shoulders. He looks a tight head in build. And you think as he develops physically as well, He's been in San Diego, sunning it up for a year, so he probably needs a good spell in the under Ferguson and in under the development to get in really good physically shape, and then play a lot of
Yeah.
rugby to get that scrummaging in him. But he looks, I reckon he looks a proper player in the making. I think.
Unless they have Prowse. But he's playing lock now, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, he's played full 80s for Bedford at locks. I don't think we'll be seeing him at tired. The bench will probably be Beltus Nonley, I reckon. So he's been on the bench for the Blues a couple of times, covering tight heads. So I'm guessing that's who we're going to see. I've seen him warming up a few times as well, at the Gardens. So I'm guessing him, which would be a player making his debut, I assume.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
What's at lock? I can't think of his name. The lad that didn't he play American football? It's
George Smith.
George Smith. How would I forget that name? The legend, same name as the legend that's George Smith. Yeah.
I suppose it depends where.
Fit? Is he fit?
I don't know. I don't know. I know he
intermittently for Bedford.
Oh, he has played for Bedford.
Right. Then we may see him.
I'd start him. He's absolutely huge.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a few factors on there. I mean, I think if we can say Munga's probably not going to be involved at all, potentially, or he's going to be involved and being pushed to be a senior player in that group. You let him develop his leadership.
That's what I'm thinking. Do you use him for that because he's still only 24? So it's not like you're putting someone old in, but you are putting someone maybe experienced in that might be a good, like you said, like a good anchor person for someone who has the experience but is kind of a similar age. So he might feature. Because I'm struggling to think who does feature. I don't know who meets our stringent criteria.
So you got Lockett if he's fit and available.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely, if he is, I would definitely go with him.
And then it's a case of return to play. Is it better for him to return off the bench? Is he fully fit for a full 80? Is he ready to go? We don't know. Then this you'd hope this tournament is prime for him to step up and get a lot of minutes to get fit and ready for the Premiership, because he might be someone we need for the rest of the year in the first team sort of thing.
I mean, the question as well is if they're also going to use it not necessarily for people that are younger in the age demographic, but also people that haven't played a lot, to give them, like Hunter Hill, for example, has not played a lot. Are they going to use it as an opportunity for him to actually get some game time under his belt, even if he's not, a young developing player as it was? There's every chance they use him.
You're gonna have to have some. You're gonna have to have one or two old heads in there, aren't you? You can't.
I agree fully. I expect Hunter Hill to play.
Yeah.
It's whether then you've got Lockett, who's available, whether he's better off the bench, and then it's a case of, do you go with Munga to just make sure it's maybe add a bit of seniority and give him the opportunity to step up as a senior role in a group, or do you go with Thornbury or Spencer because we haven't got many options? They're reliable old heads. You don't want it to be a pasting. You want someone who can do a job for you.
Yeah.
You don't want to put in.
I was thinking the same argument with Thornbury, right? Yes, he's 31, but he hasn't played a lot. So, because I don't think it's necessarily bad to use the tournament sometimes to give people game time that need game time. It's obviously just if you're taking the mick. So we might see Thornbury, for example, because like I said, it is a really good chance to get minutes under his belt because,
he might start Spencer, to be fair, because he hasn't been looking yet, has he?
Yeah.
Gavin Thornbury, right? He was born. Yeah, I'm not sure he is.
No, I may have got that wrong.
Will Spencer, I think, might be 31, but
it says 31. It says 31 on Wikipedia. Sorry, that's what I just went with.
Spencer's 32, I think.
It said Thornbury was born in 1993.
Yeah. So he is. So yeah, but then he's also a player who's had a lot of injuries, etc., and he's coming back.
And also like he's new to the Premiership as well, isn't it? Which is, because it says it's been for Leinster and Connacht, so he's got those experiences with that tournament. But the Premiership is a bit different, So I still think you could use that as a platform for kind of like building experience and game time in, without it being too bad for our stringent criteria.
Yeah, but it's he's 31, right? He might have 5 years of his career left, so he's got plenty of time, plenty of games left in him. It's a case of giving him more opportunity to prove his worth, so that we give him a chance to play, to prove himself to be a player worthy of the squad. And it might be that George Smith isn't fully fit, Lockett isn't fully fit, so you don't want to throw them in and risk them.
So I think we will probably be left. I think we are going to be left with no choice, and so I think we are going to be seeing probably Hunter Hill, probably Thornbury, probably Munger, at least on the bench. I'd be surprised if we didn't, just because of the fitness levels of other people.
Yeah, and then you've got Archie Benson as well, who's played a bit there. All right, so let's just say the locks are, we have no idea.
Basically.
There's loads of opportunity there, loads of potentially combinations.
I think if it was me, I probably would just go Hunter Hill and Thornbury.
Yeah, but and then maybe
there's so many. So many different combos. Like I said, they may just go with Munger because he's young, but he's also got the experience to kind of help lead some of them. So yeah, it really is that's definitely the unknown part, I'd say.
Yeah, looking at the back row.
That's the unknown part. I was thinking. Are you going to go Pollock?
Yeah, no, this too, but you still have to use Pollock. That's the reality of it.
Well, do you make him captain then?
No, I wouldn't give him the captaincy quite yet.
I wouldn't put too much on him. I wouldn't put too much on him.
How about we get a 15?
What's he still 20?
Captain?
21?
He's 19.
He's 19.
19, yeah, I do think so.
Yeah, so I'd play Pollock at 7.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, give him a role in his full-on position for this tournament. Play him at 7 this time.
Yeah.
6, I would go Angus Scott-Young. He hasn't had much game time. Therefore, I'd give him a full run of games in this tournament. Just give him opportunities to stake a claim, I think.
Yeah. With the Aussies.
Well, I mean, the problem is as well with the back row is
we
haven't got many more options.
No, I love Angus. I love Angus. I was just joking.
But
I wouldn't want him injured. That's all. I wouldn't want him injured in the cup because we need him for the league. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it depends as well on the availability and fitness of someone like Finn Brown. He's someone who potentially would come in and be a big part of this big. And Ruben Logan as well would be a potential 8 as well. Right.
I'd love to see Ruben Logan. Yeah.
So if we want to play entirely a back row of what are potential give players game time, Finn Brown, Ruben Logan, Henry Pollock.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds really exciting. Yeah. I don't know the availability or fitness of Finn Brown. Maybe it's a case of he's on the bench and Angus got young plays. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's a good.
Was it in the pre-season?
Yeah.
He came on.
I haven't seen much of him.
No.
And Archie Benson's also played in the back row, so there might be a case of one of those players, stepping into the role. I mean, Finn Brown could be a really exciting player. He shone for Donny in the championship last year. He's obviously taken a similar path to Sam Graham and Tom James, who have both been excellent in the first, starting players for the Saints. And you think if they've seen something like, that ability in him, you want to see him in these games to see what he's got about him, and hopefully he does get a chance. But he could be a really exciting player, I think.
It'd be good to see Archie Benson as well, though. I was in Oxfordshire the other day, and I had my Saints shirt on, and it was really random to change the subject. Sorry, his godmother come over to me. She went, "Oh, you Saints fan? Do you know Archie Benson?" I was like, "Oh yeah." He's my godson. So he was really proud.
Look, I mean, he's had a big step up because he, I believe he was maybe involved with one of the the academies at Wasps or somewhere. Obviously, went under, and then he was playing at Lutonians, which is Div 3, right? And we've picked up a few of these players like George Makepeace Hubert. He was at Reading Rams, lower tiers because he dropped out of the Irish academy when it went bust. So we've obviously got really good links somewhere picking up these players, these potentials.
Well, John Phillips used to be the coach at Luton, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, so he may still be there. So he may be just giving them a little nod, saying that this lad looks pretty decent. Might not be now.
Yeah.
I know he was a few years ago.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see something. Yeah, we want to see these big players. I said, halfbacks.
I think this is a no-brainer, no? Just McPartland and Makepeace Cubitt.
Yeah.
That's really, really, really exciting pairing as well. You got the England under 20s pairing.
You have,
Insane. Really exciting.
Exactly.
I hope they go with that. I really do.
Like two people that are super young and super exciting, but also do actually genuinely have experience of playing alongside each other. Is also just going to be super beneficial. And like you said, both of them need to do some learning on what better way to do it than having someone that you can trust. As your part of your pairing, someone that you can trust, someone you can kind of rely on and who you understand, and certainly will help bring both of them into the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like Tom James, I'd put him in the same category of Curtis Langdon and just give him the tournament off. Right, he's such a crucial player for us.
Yeah, and then I suppose who's your backup?
What's his name? Garside.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah, but then there's also very much a potential that Garside comes in a different position, considering.
Yeah.
What's he played? Wing? Has he played wing?
He's played wing. He's also played fullback, but he's very small.
No, he is. But you're also thinking of who you've got available and who you haven't got available. And is he potentially going to be? I don't know, but is he potentially going to be deployed elsewhere, or is he, going to be on the bench because he can back up a number of those different positions?
Yeah, I think for me, McParland starts at 9, and I mean he's a really exciting player and he's getting better. I mean he's starting to make those snipes around the breakdown, which is what when I get a really good confident 9, really comfortable in his role, he'll start challenging those guards and he'll start sniping, and that's coming into his game. His delivery is excellent. It is so accurate. That's the bread and butter of a 9. Get the ball out, but it's got to be perfect delivery, and he is really, really getting better at that, getting really good at that. So those halves are really. But I would then say Garside for me is the bench 9, covering wing as well. But you want to give him an opportunity to actually play at 9. What is the realistic expectation of him as a potential winger going forward? Right,
0.
So they're 4, but he's played in the Premiership on the wing, hasn't he? But therefore, surely give him an opportunity, unless they see him as an out-and-out winger now. Surely give him the opportunity to get minutes at 9. I'd have thought. The other option is Rafi Wyman, but I imagine he's way too young to be getting involved in this stuff.
Trying to think of the centres. Rambo, you wrap him up as well. He could have a week off. You see, Brooks going to be one of your wingers, surely.
Yeah, I mean,
most likely
on centres, I think you've got Savala and Litchfield.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I'd love to see Litchfield at 12 and Toby Tame at 13. I thought Toby Tame was excellent during pre-season. He showed real ability, his creativity, his distribution was really great. Really strong defender as well. I'd love to see him at 13 with Litchfield at 12, but I imagine we're going to see Charlie Savala at 12 and Litchfield at 13.
Mm-hmm.
It also depends whether Toby Tame's got a week of lectures he's got to prepare for, or whether he can get time off uni.
Would they want to risk Litchfield though? Because he's like the backup centre at the minute, isn't he? I suppose we really got a lot of choice. There's not a lot of choice.
No.
I don't think he's going to play enough games in the season with a fully fledged squad to justify wrapping him up at this point. I think you've still got to give him game time. I think he still needs games. I don't think he's at the position yet where you're wrapping him up. I think he needs the games to get better and improve and impress himself into games. Learn and improve.
Yeah.
Because he could be really stand out for this tournament, couldn't he? He could light this tournament up, but he needs those moments to actually do that rather than be potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you rest Hendy or do you give him games because he's obviously coming back from injury?
I would play him personally,
Or fullback?
just because of coming back from
Yeah.
injury, still young. And
The
I
thing
would
you've
still
got,
argue, I'd still argue he still has stuff to learn.
Of course.
Like, don't get me wrong, he's good. He's very, very good. But there is almost like unlimited potential with that kid. And so I think it'd be a perfect opportunity to just keep building.
yeah, I agree. You've got to manage his return to play, like make sure he's fully fit. But his injury was a broken bone in his foot, wasn't it? So once it's healed, it's sort of healed. As long as the rest of the body is moving and he's in, I think you've got to manage that. But if he's ready and available and he doesn't need rest, yeah, I would 100% play him, and I'd play Seabrook as well. I think you've got the two of them, Seabrook on the wing. But then the decision on Hendy where he plays,
he's got to be fullback surely, and then who's the other winger?
This thing you could say, well, fullback gives him more exposure, greater opportunity to impress himself on the game, etc. But if who do you want to bring the other person in? Because you could go Cousins, who's an out-and-out winger, right? Big, powerful, fast lad who scores tries and has been going really well at Bedford. Might be the option, right? Or you go Ewan Baker, who's also had exposure in the lower leagues, looks a really talented player as well. But he's a fullback, so then you'd move Henry to the wing potentially.
And you also have, we saw him a bit in pre-season, and I said I don't keep up enough with Bedford, but you also have Will Glister, who is very, very promising.
That's who I was thinking.
Very, very promising in the few times that he's played. So assuming he's fit, then he also definitely factors into the equation.
Yeah. Glister looks a talent as well, and we've seen him in pre-season. The thing is, I haven't seen him playing.
No, that's what I mean. I
might just not seen him play. I mean, he's not been in team sheets.
Yeah, so it's possible that there's some reason he's not.
Didn't he play for Bedford against us in the friendly?
Yeah, he got mullered by Kemeny.
He did. Yes, he did.
But that might be because he's been our travelling reserve, so hasn't been sent out to Championship Rugby. So in theory, he's the next cab on the rank, or he's just not getting in, and Cousins is getting selected. So it's I don't know. Yeah. It's one of those ones where you don't know the form or the views of those players because we're not getting sight of them. But all I know is Cousins has been tearing it up for Bedford. And I know that, Toby Tane, Ewan Baker, Will Glister, all really talented players as well. So you really hope that they get opportunities over the next few weeks in this competition. But you don't know the fitness at all.
And then you go with the mentality that you've both said. I haven't said it, that we've got no chance of winning the league. Then Dowson will just go, right, I'm playing the first team. And that just poo-poos our whole selection. He wants to win the trophy. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I feel like I'd get that argument if it was a few years down the line and we hadn't recently won something. But I feel like this isn't necessarily the time to be pushing to feel like there's some kind of desperation to have to win a trophy, and that's the one that you go for.
It is them, though, isn't it? We are playing them, so
and remember there are quite a few games in this competition as well. So you could go with the mindset of going strong at home, getting those home wins, maintaining that fortress Franklin's Gardens mentality, and then away at Nottingham away at Cov, and maybe home to Nottingham where weaker opposition, and I'm not sure what the other away game is, but maybe then you send these slightly youngsters so that you're balancing it across the whole competition, but you're making sure you win at home.
Yeah.
It's two ways of looking at it. You take it game by game and really focus, make sure you win those home games to reinforce that, or you go, right, new competition, new squad approach. This is the side that we're going to give every minute of every game to for them to develop. And it'd be I would love to see that. I'd love to see, Hafar, Wright, Green, Lockett, Pollock, Logan, McParland, George Makepeace Cuthbert, Litchfield, Tame, Cousins, Hendy. Really just go on, youngsters. You're the next You're that next line of generation. Let's see what you can develop playing together. Because with the last sort that developed, they did quite well. and they're doing quite well. So that maybe not
Yeah.
build that next group.
That's where you miss the A League, isn't it? Because that's where they used to develop, really. But I know it's not coming back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it's just those. It's only those 3 games. So we're at home to Leicester, home to Nottingham, and away to Cov.
Yeah, so maybe you go big in the Tigers game, and then maybe
maybe.
It's an interesting one. I wouldn't necessarily do that.
I wouldn't personally, but I also can totally see that they might. So.
Yeah, you sort of imagine they go with a bit of a balance of it, don't you? You might get your Scott Young, maybe you get your West, maybe you get Savala and Seabrook and etc. Maybe James plays some minutes and whatever you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, but maybe that does it just to keep that sort of thread.
I think
of the first
you
team
are
going
gonna you will see some of them play, because there's no way that they're gonna, all those top guys are gonna have 4 weeks off. I just can't see that being a reality. So I think you are going to see some of them, just because you don't really want to be going back into the Premiership with people that haven't played for 4 weeks.
No, exactly. But yeah,
but there are some that might be okay. I'm not saying that there's some that aren't, but I don't know. You just don't want people to rest on their laurels too much when we're fairly adrift of those guys at the top at this point. Like it's crucial that people continue to be match fit. We really don't want to get dumped back into the Premiership and we really struggle to keep up because they haven't been playing for a long time. So I'd be very surprised if you still aren't seeing like your Tom James, even if it's just coming off the bench for half an hour in one of the games. I'd be very surprised if we don't see them at all.
No, I fully suspect that we will. I mean, what I'd love to see is them, first of all, not wear the home kit, wear a special like Onedies kit, right? So that it, and then treat it as a different team, a different tournament, and see that young group develop through a tournament. I think that would be a really interesting, cool way of seeing it done, rather than treating it like a Saints game, treating it like Saints v Tigers, because it's just not, is it?
No.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it is. It still is.
But
Still playing them, mate. It doesn't matter if you got your granddads playing. You still want to beat them kids.
Yeah. So if we beat them, it makes up for the loss, does it?
No.
It doesn't make up for the loss in the league, but the bragging rights will be back to Northampton, even though it's a cup game.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure people would view it as a bragging rights. But I wouldn't think that the bragging rights are back because we beat them in the cup competition. But some people might.
It's more likely though we go with the youngsters and they send full strength team and we get battered and then they keep the bragging rights. But we'd say we keep the moral high ground.
That's also why I feel like I'm not going to do a prediction this week, because it's too unknown. Like I feel like we always have a rough guess of what's probably going to happen in the Prem, but this is literally impossible to judge.
We could go on what we just said. So just go on the fact that we think we're putting out a young team. They'll put out some probably internationals. So that's how I'm going.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care if we put out the 5-year-olds. I'm not backing. I would never say they're going to beat us.
Oh no, I'm not saying that they're going to. I don't know if I could realistically even guess what is likely to even happen.
I'm just going to go out there 28-26 to Saints.
I'm just going to say that Saints will win at home, just because. But I'm not going to put any prediction on it because I just don't know what's going to happen. We've talked about it. But I don't know what we're going to put out. We don't know what they're going to put out. I don't know enough about. I intentionally try not to know enough about Leicester to kind of have any idea of, are they carrying injuries? Are they not carrying injuries? Are they, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just don't know enough.
But it's like last week. We didn't know Coles was going to play. That was a massive, come out of nowhere. So it was that would have altered you. I think, hang on. One of the big boys is back. That alters a bit. So, yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? It's only a bit.
Yeah.
A bit. I'm going to go 28-26.
Okay, we've got one prediction. I'm not giving one either. But so just before we go, Simon raised it earlier. Based on the names that we've spoken about, who leads that side through this tournament?
If you're playing Angus, probably Angus, wouldn't you?
Again, Angus got young. Do you reckon you get the feeling that he would lead that? I mean, Ram led the side in pre-season. We're not sure he'll play, but does he play because you need him as a skipper?
No, Ram needs wrapping up, man. He looked like he hurt his knee a bit. I wouldn't.
I would pick Munger as captain personally.
But is he fit? Because he didn't play against Bristol, did he?
I don't know.
He was on the bench. On the bench and close. He wasn't even a travelling reserve.
It's a really interesting point that could be really cool to see who comes out in that answer. Who's the answer to that? Because you might be picking a senior player just because they need to give them a bit of time. You could say Tom James becomes captain. He's probably. I wouldn't want to play him, but you might go, well, this could be a real opportunity to give someone who's sort of, a senior player, but on the periphery of the leadership group, an opportunity to step into the full leadership role and let them learn and experience and develop doing in that part of their game. So that when we get back to the Premiership, they've got another string to their bow.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because it's so difficult. It's so difficult to guess just simply. It's so difficult to guess just simply because it's also, do these people want to have that role on them? Like some of them probably just are literally not interested, and so we cannot guess without knowing. Without really knowing, because there are some players who have been very honest of like, I don't want that responsibility. Like I just want to go and play my game, and I don't want that to be part of what I'm doing on the pitch. So it depends.
I know Captain Fantastic's a 15 at the moment, Mr. Furbank, but for me, your captain should always be a forward. So if Angus Scott Young's playing, he's my captain.
Maybe it could be interesting that, like you said, you did mention him earlier. Maybe Henry Pollock at 19, the chosen one.
I said that. You were like, "Oh, too early."
Yeah, but you said
I can't think of anyone I want them to give the responsibility to less. Because I think he does it anyway, and I think he probably enjoys taking on that kind of role without officially having the role. Like
he'd love it.
He's very energetic and he's very talkative.
England under-20s captain, the chosen one.
Yeah, he's
gets his first game at the Gardens as captain, beats Tigers. I mean, it's written in the stars.
Maybe, but I'd be very surprised if they gave it to someone who's played literally a handful of Premiership plays. I think someone senior will end up in the team just to take that kind of that role, most likely.
You're probably right, but we can dream.
We can dream.
He'd love that. He would absolutely relish that. He would take that on and absolutely go out there. And
but I think that's the risk you take, though. Like, it could be the making of someone, and it could also be the undoing of someone. And is that worth taking a risk on a 19-year-old whose focus really should just be on his game, not everyone else's? Like,
as always, Jess, you bring us down to earth.
Sorry, but I do like the idea of Scott Young coming in and doing that role.
Yeah, I think
because he just, like I said, he gets his head down and he just cracks on with it, and it's a really good example. I think it would be a great example for people that are kind of new to that kind of level, or at least inexperienced. That they've got someone who, they're watching, like a leader, just knuckle down and crack on and just put a big shift in.
To be fair, to Pollock, I don't think Dowse would do that, especially when they interviewed him about him saying, "Oh, when he missed that, when they sidestepped him and he was not correct in the defensive line." I don't think they'll put it on him just because they don't want him to get ego, because he's already like everyone's watching him as the next best thing. Put him in the big spotlight as captain. It's probably not the right. It's a dream, but I think they won't.
No, I agree. I think it's too much to ask of a young lad. Some of that, like Jess said, you don't need to give him at this point. He's got plenty else to work on, but he's the chosen one. So you never know. Yeah. And on that basis, I think that's enough for this week. Really good chat again, everyone. My name's been Charles McGillivray. Simon's been Simon. Jess has been Jess. Thanks very much for listening.
Goodbye.